On the second day of the Cold War with Sean, he was parading around with my best friend, the two of them appearing intimately close. Others teased, "Sean, if you're with Lora's best friend and she really cries in anger, you'll be in big trouble." Sean sneered, "Cry in anger? I was giving her face before, she can go wherever she wants. I hate her tears the most." I stood at the door, hearing everything clearly. Deep down, I sneered and casually threw the reconciliation gift into the trash bin. Back home, I directly smashed the wedding house I had just prepared. I left gracefully. I could tolerate Sean's tantrums, but I absolutely could not tolerate infidelity. I didn't want my fiancé or my best friend anymore. Later, Sean found me, kneeling and begging for forgiveness. But those who lose me forever. Because I forgot to prepare coffee for Sean, he argued with me. That night, he angrily stormed out and didn't come back. Helpless, I had to take the initiative to make amends. After all, we were getting married in a few days. All along, Sean had a bad temper. He could get angry over trivial matters, thinking I didn't love him. I thought it was due to his childhood experiences lacking security, so I could only coax him. But if he really crossed my bottom line and made me angry, he would pretend to be innocent and try every way to beg for forgiveness. In this bumpy relationship, we had been together for 4 years. Carrying the gift, I walked to the private room and saw the door slightly ajar, so I wanted to push it open directly. Suddenly, voices came from inside. "Sean, if you're with Lora's best friend and she really cries in anger, you'll be in big trouble." Sean disdainfully said, "Cry in anger? I was giving her face before, she can go wherever she wants. I hate her tears the most." My breath hitched. Through the door crack, I saw Sean embracing my best friend Yara, the two almost kissing. This scene stung my eyes, my heart enveloped in pain, making it hard to breathe. Sean's friend loudly said, "Sean is mighty, this is the model for us men." As he spoke, in high spirits, Sean directly turned Yara's face and kissed her. Yara was deeply engaged in the kiss when suddenly our eyes met. She was stunned at first, then showed me a provocative smile. Deep down, I sneered. My supposedly good best friend had been coveting my fiancé. I glanced at the gift in my hand and turned to throw it into the nearby trash bin. This gift became a joke. It turned out that while I was saddened by the Cold War, Sean found comfort elsewhere and didn't care about my feelings at all. The cheater was my best friend. They had conspired to betray me. I drove home at high speed, back to the fully decorated wedding house. The door still had the double happiness character I had personally cut. I stared at the fiery red paper cut, my eyes full of sarcasm. I called the demolition workers, my tone flat. "Hello, do you have time to come demolish the house now? I can pay extra." Dozens of people came. I sat on the sofa and instructed carefully, "Smash all the walls, and it's best to destroy all the furniture. If the floor can't be shoveled off, just cut it to pieces." The workers were surprised but did as told. What I wanted to destroy was not just the house, but also all the gifts I gave to Sean and he gave to me, including the piano that carried our 4 years of love. I smashed the piano bit by bit with a hammer. This villa was meticulously designed by me, containing all my efforts. Today, I reduced it to ruins. I could tolerate Sean's willfulness and his self-destructive behavior, but I absolutely could not tolerate his infidelity. Sean had become dirty. I don't want dirty things. I watched wide-eyed as the wedding house turned into a pile of ruins. I paid the money and smiled as I saw the workers off. I took one last look at the ruins, turned, and drove away. Since Sean wasn't coming back, I guessed he wouldn't discover the wedding house was gone for a while. While driving, I posted on Facebook, "Sorry to all relatives and friends, the wedding is cancelled because Sean cheated with Yara." After posting, I directly turned off my phone. I drove to my own house in another city. Once home, I turned on the phone, and many messages popped up, all asking what happened. Ironically, Yara liked it and commented, "Lora, you misunderstood, Sean and I have nothing." My dad rarely called me, questioning, "Is marriage a game?" I interrupted his lecture, "Who wants a dirty man? If you like Sean, go kneel and lick him." Victor was instantly choked, his face flushed red, his voice buried in anger. "Lora, how dare you speak to me like that? Your wings are really hardened. Isn't Sean the one you shamelessly pursued?" Hearing this, I rarely fell silent. Indeed, I had actively pursued Sean, even ruining the blind date Victor arranged. Seeing Sean's family was well off, Victor let it go and even approved of us being together. Victor's tone was unpleasant. "He just made a small mistake, and you want to break up with him. Can't you be more magnanimous?" Deep down, I sneered. Back then, when Victor cheated, he said the same to my mom. My mom was more decisive than me, she didn't even want me and directly divorced. "If you like cheating men, go live with him." After mocking, I directly hung up the phone. It had been only 6 hours since I posted on Facebook. I estimated Sean was still sleeping in some bed. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Tears slipped from the corners of my eyes, wetting the pillow. I couldn't be as cool and decisive as my mom, my heart still hurt a lot. Suddenly, the phone by my pillow rang. I picked it up and saw it was my mom, whom I hadn't contacted for days. I quickly sat up and adjusted my state. "Mom, what's up?" Grace laughed. "Don't be sad, you just met a piece of trash." I lowered my head, tears bursting out. Was I not good to him? Beasts have no conscience. Grace had met Sean. I once brought her to stay at the Shin house for a few days. But Sean didn't like outsiders. Throughout, he basically treated Grace like air, which I didn't know at the time. He only greeted her once and said nothing else. After dinner, Grace left without a word. I asked the reason, and Grace smiled. "Lora, keep your eyes open when looking at men." Afterward, Sean hugged me and said, "I don't want your gaze on others." At the time, I didn't understand. Now, Grace told me the reason. Suddenly, I wasn't so sad anymore, it was just trash. How could I feel regret after throwing it away? It was dawn outside, the tears on my face had long dried. I simply got up, drank a glass of water to refresh, and tidied up everything in the house. After living with Sean, I hadn't come back. Suddenly, my phone rang again. I answered without looking. Sean's voice came through, lazy, the other side quiet. "Where did you go?" My action of hanging clothes paused slightly. I said nothing and hung up. Then, the ringtone kept ringing, quite urgent. I answered again. "Get lost, don't disgust me." Sean's tone was hurt. "Lora, how dare you curse me? Hearing your voice makes me want to vomit last night's dinner." Sean paused for a second, breathing rapidly, saying incredulously, "You're angry?" I wasn't angry, I had just seen through Sean's callousness. "Lora, don't be angry, that day was an accident. Sean approached me just to act, to make you care about him more." It was Yara's voice, she was beside Sean. I closed my eyes. "Yara, we're not friends anymore." I hung up, covering my chest, feeling extremely irritated there. I finished hanging the clothes, found a movie to watch, and fell asleep while watching. When I woke again, it was evening. Footsteps sounded by my ear, startling me awake. I saw Sean in a suit, impeccably dressed, looking polished. Sean did have a good face, otherwise, I wouldn't have liked him so much before. He held a bowl of cooked instant noodles, smiling at me. "Lora, you're awake? This is what I just made." Instant noodles were the only thing he could make. In the past, as long as he showed goodwill, I would reconcile with him. My brows furrowed slightly, expression disgusted. Get lost, who let you come to my house? Sean's breathing became erratic. Lora, why are you still angry at me? It's all a misunderstanding. We've already broken up, I said patiently. Sean fiercely smashed the bowl of noodles. The floor instantly became messy, some splashing onto the sofa. Seeing this, I was immediately furious. I had just cleaned today. Lora, how long are you going to make a fuss? I've already come to find you. Hearing this, I sneered inwardly. I had sought Sean many times before, and now he gets impatient after coming once. I removed the blanket from my body, tone calm. I smashed the wedding house and cancelled the wedding. I'm notifying you. Do you understand? Panic flashed on Sean's face. What did you say? I stood up, looking directly at him. I don't love you anymore. Sean avoided my gaze, his face pale. Impossible. You must still be angry. I laughed. Sean, why are you so confident? People like you deserve no love. Sean was stunned instantly, the whole person fragile and vulnerable. I forcefully drove Sean out. For the first time, I saw fear on his face. I changed the home password. Otherwise, if I opened my eyes and saw him again, I would really be disgusted. I called an hourly worker. The floor was cleaned again. I sent him the payment screenshot. Sean kept saying other things. Don't be angry, please. Out of sight, out of mind, I blocked him, then sent the screenshot to his birth mother. Pay up, your son dirted the floor. Helena soon sent a message. Lora, stay away from my son, let's part amicably. I wish for an amicable parting. It's your shameless son who insists on entangling me. Hurry and pay. I got the fresh $200 and ordered coffee. Having slept too much during the day, I didn't want to sleep at night. Helena was furious. I sent a voice message. Don't break down, I've had enough of your extreme family. Sean's relationship with the Shin family wasn't good. Helena used her body to rise and gave birth to him but didn't love him. Richard was indifferent to his own son. Their attitudes made the servants treat him based on favoritism, often abusing Sean. In the past, I pitied him and always tolerated him excessively. However, Sean developed willful habits, often doing extreme things to attract my attention. The repair of Sean and Helena's relationship was also due to my efforts. I knew Sean craved maternal love, so I helped him with ideas. Delicious meals and exquisite gifts were all prepared by me on behalf of Sean. Now, they've reconciled but teamed up against me. I knew Helena always looked down on me, thinking I couldn't bring benefits to Sean. But Sean never helped me. He thought as long as I had less contact with Helena, there wouldn't be big conflicts, and he even thought I was making a fuss. Because of Sean's inaction, Helena always secretly excluded me. In the evening, I received a photo from Yara. In the photo, Yara was lying on a man in a suit, head tilted back with a dazed look, the atmosphere ambiguous, as if they could roll into bed the next second. Sean's face wasn't shown, but I still recognized him. The clothes were what he wore today. Annoyed, I directly posted this photo on Facebook. Caption: which little slut sent me this cheating evidence? However, the next second, Yara called. I answered. Lora. The one Sean likes is me. Let go, he doesn't love you at all. He said touching you is no different from touching himself. Only after being with me did he understand what a woman is. I laughed. Oh, congratulations, you're using the dirty thing I don't want. Yara was infuriated by my understated words. So what? Now, the one Sean loves is me. Why are you always so superior? You've always looked down on me the most. Now your man doesn't love you. Aren't you hiding in a corner secretly crying? My tone was flat. Only you would want a dirty man. Yara hung up in anger. There was nothing to eat at home. I took time to go to the market to buy groceries but ran into annoying Sean. Sean walked straight toward me. I spoke first. I thought we were already over. Sean's face paled. I saw your Facebook. It's not what you think. I stared at him and laughed. Sean, do you think this will make me change my mind? If I don't care about you, you're just like roadside weeds. Sean completely panicked, his voice tinged with sobs, tears falling nonstop. I just wanted you to care about me more. It's not what you think. I don't love her at all. I had already seen through Sean's tricks. The photo was deliberately taken, and he knew Yara sent it to me. But he no longer evoked any caring emotions in me. Instead, he made me feel disgusted. On the weekend, a former classmate proposed a class reunion and invited me. When I arrived, I discovered Sean and Yara were there too. Sean must have come with Yara. Seeing them, my face changed slightly, and I turned to leave. Behind me came the sound of a chair being dragged. Sean chased after me, grabbing my hand, tone panicked. Lora, Yara, and I have nothing. I don't like her at all. I came to explain to you. Otherwise, I really have no way to see you again. The others said nothing. Yara's face visibly changed. She stood up. Sean, what do you mean? Didn't you say you liked me? Sean's tone sank. Shut up. You slut, don't try to provoke my relationship with my fiancé. Hearing this, I laughed. Sean was acting again. I forcefully pried open Sean's hand, mocking. Sean, stop acting. Sean's expression was hurt. I'm not acting. I really love you. Yara's chest heaved violently, tears in her eyes. Sean, if you don't love me, why provoke me? Sean was extremely annoyed. You think you're comparable to Lora? A clingy piece of goods. Sean's mouth was always venomous. Sure enough, Yara almost couldn't stand. The organizer looked embarrassed. Lora, sit down first, talk while eating. I exhaled. You know I discussed them now. Why are they here? The classmate looked troubled. She was invited by someone else. Sean's expression had been bad, but seeing me sit down, it finally eased. Yara gripped her chopsticks, sneering. Lora, what's the point of pretending to be superior every day? I picked up the teacup and splashed it directly on Yara's face. Yara screamed, ah. How dare you splash me? I leaned back in the chair. So what if I splash you? Yara didn't expect me to tear off the facade so straightforwardly, but she forgot. I've always been this way. For people I care about, I can lift them to the heavens. For those I don't, even if they die in front of me, I won't glance. Sean kept looking at me, not saying a word for her. The others had no intention of helping her. Being a mistress and still provoking, not getting beaten was already good. Yara cried, Lora, you can't bully people like this. I smiled happily, tone subtle. Is the dirty man useful? Sean couldn't hold back. Lora, don't talk like that, okay? I retorted, isn't what I said the truth? Sean looked embarrassed. I didn't sleep with her. I don't fancy her at all. I just wanted to stimulate you to come reconcile with me. My eyes mocked. I come to you, then you humiliate me from above? Want to be emperor? Go home for that. No ability at home. Come here to brush presents. Sean was stunned. Obviously, I was right. It was like that before. He always enjoyed seeing me suffer for the relationship, as if that made him feel better. No. I just like seeing you care about me. I've grown tired of these words. I picked up my bag, stood up, and said to the classmate, thanks for the invitation, but in the future, if Yara and Sean are there, don't invite me. I turned and left the room. Sean hurriedly chased, Lora, I'll send you. I ignored him. At the door, the car I had called arrived. It was my former friend, now my boss. In those days at home, I wasn't idle. I switched to a better job. Sean saw Aaron and was obviously stunned, crisis sense rising. He subconsciously asked, who is he? Aaron glanced at Sean, tone subtle, this is the ex-husband bro? I glanced at him, vaguely, yes. Sean's eyes turned scarlet, voice raised, Lora. You separated from me because you found a replacement, right? I looked at him irritably, don't shout, we've broken up. Who I am with afterward is my freedom. Before, Sean couldn't stand me having male friends, he always secretly deleted all mails from my phone. Once it was ridiculous, he even deleted my dad. My dad called to scold me, I just said, Sean deleted it, old man. He instantly shut up and said, get along well, don't always argue with him. See, people with shared cheating experiences always protect each other. Sean's eyes brimmed with tears, looking pitifully at me, you actually yell at me for someone else. I was almost disgusted, Sean was really hard to deal with. Aaron spoke, Miss Lora, let's go quickly, we have an appointment later. Sean heard appointment and glared, you're not allowed to go. I glanced at him, who are you? Mind your own business. Sean watched helplessly as I got in the car. Aaron nodded to him, very gentlemanly. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Sean almost explode with anger. Aaron drove and suddenly said, is this the person who made you give up the opportunity to go to America? I nodded, yes. I registered an account, edited text to clarify my relationship with Sean. The text was concise, broke up due to male infidelity, engagement dissolved long ago. My comment section surged with people, I saw and turned off the phone. Aaron, regret it? I looked straight ahead, expression calm, who hasn't met a few idiots in youth? Aaron chuckled, my company is busy, you won't have time for these personal matters later. I nodded, I was prepared long ago. Back home, I bid Aaron farewell, started the robot vacuum, and turned on the TV. I opened a bottle of soda and burrowed into the sofa. My stomach was empty, just drink some soda to cope. Just as I thought that, the doorbell rang, I patiently got up to open, who is it? As I asked, I saw Aaron. Want barbecue? Aaron held several bags of barbecue in front of me. I was stunned, then nodded frantically. Aaron also brought a huge watermelon. One half each, Aaron entered my home like that. I took a bite of watermelon, feeling revived. Having a boss like you, no regrets in life. Aaron couldn't help smiling, how hungry are you? You don't understand. Suddenly, it rained outside, visible through the floor-to-ceiling window. The window isn't closed, I'll close it. Aaron pressed my shoulder and stood, I'll close it. I didn't stand on ceremony, sat down to focus on eating barbecue. After a long time, Aaron called, Sean is downstairs. My fingers paused slightly, ignore him. After eating barbecue, Aaron left. I didn't keep him, mainly, lone man and woman isn't appropriate. I simply cleared the table, went to the bathroom to shower, and lay comfortably on the sofa. The phone flashed with several messages. One from Aaron, I have a house downstairs, stay temporarily first. I replied, rich people are great. There were also texts from unknown numbers. I glanced hastily and recognized Sean's tone. I didn't look carefully and turned off the phone. Sean was questioning if I was with Aaron, but what does it matter to him? The next morning, I got up early to buy breakfast. Suddenly, my back was hugged, Sean exuded moisture, drenched, obviously having stood downstairs all night. Sean's sobs were choking, Lora, don't abandon me, this time, let's call it even, okay? He really knew he was wrong. If given another chance, he wouldn't be so willful. I struggled and easily broke free. I accidentally touched his hand back, it was cold. Looking at him, I noticed his face slightly red, lips cracked, obviously ill. Sean, you have a fever, you should go to the hospital. Sean cried, I don't want to, I won't go, I'll stay by your side. Did you sleep with Aaron? Did you? I stared at Sean, whose mental state was off, too lazy to argue. Sean took a few steps forward, stumbling, finally falling toward me. I struggled to support him, wanting to curse inwardly. Sean's skin was scalding hot, his clothes completely soaked. Yesterday's heavy rain, he really stood below all night. I looked around, wanting to put him on the ground to call an ambulance. Just then, Aaron came. Seeing him, I frantically called, "Come help quickly." Aaron ran over quickly, supporting Sean. "What's wrong with him?" "Probably fainted from fever." Aaron dragged Sean into the car and took him to the hospital. During this, Sean was half asleep, half awake, calling my name. Aaron sneered, "Men act drunk to make you cry." I laughed out loud, "Why don't you do stand-up?" Aaron said, "I might shine more in finance." At the hospital, if Sean had been sent later, his brain could have been damaged by the fever. I sent a text to his birth mom. Unfortunately, Helena didn't believe Sean was ill and thought I was extorting money again. Last time's 200 was mine anyway, but she saw it as extortion. Truly extreme. Aaron came over, handing me a bag of steamed buns. "Pad your stomach first." I looked up. "How did you know I didn't eat breakfast?" Aaron stared at my clothes. "You're in pajamas, not out for a stroll, right?" I sat on the chair, holding the buns and starting to eat. "What is all this? Where's there an X so entangled?" Aaron said lowly, "It's all his fault, he didn't cherish you." I looked at him, not yet speaking, when the doctor hurriedly said, "The patient is awake." I quickly stuffed a few more bites of buns and walked into the ward, not noticing Aaron's disappointed look. As I walked in, Sean pulled off the four from his hand. I said coldly, "Don't do meaningless things." Sean shed tears again. I said helplessly, "Sometimes your tears are really annoying." Sean was stunned, showing a helpless expression. "Sorry. Don't entangle me anymore, we're long over. Handle the online opinions yourself, I won't get involved." I thought I had explained everything, but Sean threw off the blanket, fell from the bed, and knelt before me. "I beg you, don't abandon me, okay? Sorry, can you forgive me this time? I really won't make trouble anymore, I was really wrong." I looked at him coldly and smiled, "We're really over, I can't tolerate stains. You can be willful, throw tantrums, but not cheat. Those who lose me forever." Sean's face paled, collapsing to kneel on the ground. He cried painfully. "Then don't be with Aaron, okay?" I was stunned. With Aaron? I didn't know why Sean linked me with Aaron, too lazy to argue further. "You can't control me." I lifted my foot and turned to leave. Behind came Sean's violent cries. How did I not know Sean loved crying so much before? Anyway, it has nothing to do with me. However, I still left my payment code here. Hospital and medical fees need to be repaid. I came out of the hospital, wanting to continue eating the remaining buns. Aaron stopped me. "It's cold, buy something else later." I shook my head. "It's fine, my stomach isn't that fragile." I ate in a few bites and got full. Aaron gripped the steering wheel, glancing at me. "Sean, handled cleanly?" I nodded, "Yes. If it continues, it won't look good for anyone." Aaron said, What are your plans next?" "No plans, work as before." Aaron, suppressing excitement, "Lora, actually I smiled, finally knowing why Sean thought of me and Aaron together. "Didn't you say the company is busy, no time for personal matters?" Hearing this, Aaron visibly became disappointed. I added, "I think it's good." Aaron knew he was rejected. He smiled bitterly, "You're still as eloquent as before. I can't immediately enter another relationship right after losing one. Moreover, I really don't like Aaron, if I did, I would have long ago." He's not a backup for my lost relationship. I hope Aaron understands. We can only be friends. That's it. My life got back on track. I started working formally. The new company felt good. I think I can stay long term. Finally, in the second year, I was promoted and transferred across the ocean. Originally, I gave up going abroad for Sean. Now, it's realized through work. Knowing the transfer, I was happy. The boss treated the whole department to dinner. Coincidentally, I met Yara, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. She was being slapped and hair pulled. Yara saw me from afar. I showed her a slight smile. The venom in Yara's eyes almost overflowed. The woman beating her was middle-aged, whom I happened to know. We could meet in work circles. Slut. Dare to seduce my husband. Hearing this, I was truly stunned. Because her husband was almost 50, seems Sean didn't want her. I stood there watching her embarrassment for a while, until Yara's face was swollen from slaps, then I left. I knew how to make Yara more painful. Her crumbling self-esteem could consume her to death. Sure enough, Yara's affair as a mistress was exposed to various people, becoming famous. Some mentioned me, saying I was blind, poor in choosing friends. This I admit. Before, I pitied her and always helped enthusiastically. Now, she actively became a mistress. Later, she tore off the facade, saying she was jealous of me. I don't think there's anything about me worth jealousy. A cheating dad, a dad who sells his daughter at every turn, a dad who likes to suck his daughter's blood. Having such a dad is already bad luck for 8 lifetimes. While scrolling, I suddenly came across a photo. It was a villa photo, identical to the original wedding house. The phone rang timely, an unknown number. I hesitated for a few seconds and answered. Lora. Sean's voice came, seeming in very bad state. Sorry, I rebuilt the wedding house, identical to before. My reaction was faint, noted, but it's none of my business. Sean wanted to speak more. I interrupted, nothing else, hanging up. Just as I said that, Sean's voice rose. Don't hang up, I beg you. I bought back the piano, everything back, identical. Sean was almost hysterical. I suddenly felt bored. What's the use of identical? He and I can't go back. Stop making trouble, can you not be so annoying? Disgusting. Sean was stunned. I took the chance to hang up. I threw the phone aside and continued packing luggage. At the airport, I received Helena's call. She said Sean attempted suicide. Looking at the boarding time, I replied, if he attempts suicide, go to the hospital, why find me? This time, I can't soften, everything hindering my progress is trash. Helena accused, how are you so cold-blooded? The coldest should be the Shin family, right? On their own turf, letting Sean be abused by servants. Truly crazy. I took a deep breath and incessantly cursed Helena, greeting her ancestors for 18 generations, her dear husband, asking if she waits for her husband to die to seduce other men and have another child. Helena was so angry she gasped, almost passing out. Slut, don't provoke me. I'm not unable to curse, when I do, I'm fearless. Sure enough, Helena backed off. Before, for Sean, I respected her, but not now. We're all people, why should I yield to her? I landed safely in America. Company people sent a car to pick me up to the rented apartment. The apartment was neither big nor small, perfect for one person. Aaron messaged, Sean had his stomach pumped and is safe. I sent an okay emoji. I opened the window, the sky outside darkened, a homeless man below playing guitar. I propped my chin and listened for a while. I shouted, can you play another one? The homeless man smiled at me and switched to a cheerful tune. I gave a few dollars, he kept thanking me. He also gave me a signed photo, saying he'd become famous worldwide. He told his story. Turns out he'd been homeless for many years. Daily receiving government aid. If he finds a place to stay, he has no food. So he chooses to wander. As long as there's open space, not driven away, that's his sleeping spot. Before parting, I blessed, "You'll become famous, musician. In the future, those striving for dreams will succeed. I will, and so will you."